The Trump administration has made countless efforts to sabotage this census, to erase historically undercounted communities, especially those which have been disproportionately impacted by COVID-19. Make no mistake, the Trump administration has been deliberately undermining the census for purely partisan political gain. Now that the Supreme Court has allowed the census count to end early, the Bureau needs to undertake the massive and complex task of processing the raw data that it has collected related to 150 million housing units and other locations into data that accurately reflects each of our communities. This data is so important that the Asian American community, the fastest growing community in the United States, and other allied communities on this call, because it translates to real resources in our neighborhoods, real changes for our communities, and real implications for our political representation for the next 10 years. The post-data collection processing that we have been talking about is critical to identify any errors and to ensure an accurate count. The current deadline for the Census Bureau to submit the final 2020 count to the president is December 31st, 2020. However, the Census Bureau has previously stated and made clear repeatedly that there is not enough time to meet this deadline and that it needed through April 30th of 2021 to ensure that it can conduct all the necessary data processing steps. Several lawsuits, including one by Advancing Justice AAJC along with MALDEF, have urged that the December 31 deadline must be set aside to ensure that the post-data processing is done properly. A federal judge in California agreed and issued a preliminary injunction, but that ruling has been put on hold while the decision is on appeal. This means that as of now, under the statutory guideline, the Census Bureau is tasked with conducting the post-processing in 6 weeks instead of the 6 months that it had previously planned. As to the July 21 presidential memo, a panel of 3 federal judges in New York ruled that on September 10, 2020, that excluding undocumented immigrants from the congressional apportionment count was unlawful. The Trump administration has appealed this ruling too, and the Supreme Court is scheduled to hear the case on November 30. I've said it before on many previous calls, and I will say it again today. The mandate of the United States Constitution says that all persons must be counted in the decennial census. The same is true for the apportionment count. The Constitution expressly states all persons. It does not state all citizens. The language of the Constitution is plain. Rushing to transmit apportionment data to the president by December 31 would undermine the accuracy of census data when we've worked so hard to push our communities to participate in the census and to tell them how it will benefit their lives. Everyone in America, regardless of political affiliation or ethnicity, should be deeply troubled by the president's attempt to undermine and misrepresent data from the 2020 census. Congress must act now to ensure the integrity and accuracy of census data and to ensure that it is preserved.